Nebraska Volleyball just wrapped up another match. Join former Husker Mandy Monson as she breaks down the game from the hard swings and perfect sets to the diving digs and precision passing. 93.7 The Ticket's post-game coverage of Nebraska Volleyball starts now.
That is right. Welcome in another post-game show here on The Ticket. We are with you all day long and into the wee hours of the morning as well. Austin Norman with you here, and more importantly, former Husker Mandy Monson in studio, breaking down yet another. Keep going, times about 15 Husker sweeps. Mandy, they just can't help themselves. They get too much fun, too much enjoyment out of sweeping opponents.
You know, I watched the game on Peacock, and it was an enjoyable game to watch because one, I thought Minnesota played pretty well as they could play against us.
Mm-hmm.
If I was going to summarize the game and where I think we just highlighted why we are the number one team in the nation, why we have as many people on the hot list for Player of the Year, is our ability to disperse the ball to multiple players and they terminate. And especially in the middle. There's no one else in the country that has a middle attack like we have. I mean, Andy Jackson played phenomenal today. Rebecca Alec played phenomenal today. And we're able to do that and display what we can do in the middle because we are so efficient at passing and digging the ball. And I have yet to see anybody else in the country that has what we have in the middle. And then you put, Virginia Adriano played incredible today. I mean, she just, in set one was, really dominating. Our block, we didn't get quite as many blocks today, but offensively, we were just really strong. I think we hit 434. Mm-hmm. We had multiple players over 500, and they looked really good. And it's not that Minnesota. They had Kelly Kinney. She had some impressive attacks on the outside. And then who was their other outside? They did some good things. I think it's just we have so much more offensive power than other teams do. And so then even when teams can maybe cut the margin a little bit, it's just really hard to get out in front of us at all or be able to close the margin because we just have so many options that we can go to. I didn't talk about Harper yet. Harper played great. She's passing the ball. She's digging the ball.
3 aces on the night for her.
Yeah, 3 aces on that. Her hitting percentage wasn't, quite as good tonight, but that's the thing. So on a lot of teams, right, they're like their main player. If they have a hitting percentage that's poor, then that team struggles.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't. That's just not the case for us. And I think Bergen, set the ball really well tonight. So, what I thought was great about what we did today is we went into a venue that was totally packed. The Minnesota, I forgot, being able to see it on TV. That's a really cool venue. And that would not be easy to play in. It was completely sold out. I thought it sounded like it was pretty loud in there. And, for the Huskers to be able to show up and execute like they did, I think that just shows where this team is at from a maturity level, from their ability to go into an opponent's house and really, even though that opponent played competitively, still keep them pretty quiet. The other player that I wanted to talk about, who she has just been playing very, very well, is Taylor Landfair. And Taylor Landfair used to be at Minnesota and then transferred here. And, she played outstanding. She had 11 kills off of 20 attacks, no errors, and hit 550.
Pretty good night.
Not bad for going
You'll take it.
to going into your former house and saying, hey. And she's so calm. Like,
Mhm.
if you watch Taylor Landfair, I mean, she's kind of like one of those players that's just super calm. She doesn't get too shook up about anything. But, over the last, she tweaked her ankle, I want to say 4 matches ago. And the 3 matches before she tweaked her ankle, she was already on a very good run of playing well. And she's just kind of a steady offensive threat that, one, she has the height. I think she's like 6'5".
Yeah.
And so, she's a very tough attacker to defend against and put a block up. And she definitely showed, her skills tonight against her former team.
402-464-5685. If you want to be a part of the show, you have thoughts on another sweep for the number 1 Nebraska Cornhuskers against a top 25 foe in Minnesota. You can also drop comments on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Thanks to our friends at Sartor Heyman Jewelers. Lots to get to with what you just said there, Mandy. Let's jump off on that Taylor Landfair angle. You talk about the variety of options. Taylor Landfair is a former Big Ten Player of the Year.
Yeah.
We know what she's capable of. Teams across the country know what she's capable of.
Yeah.
What a luxury for Nebraska to not need to force feed her the ball the way maybe Minnesota did when she was rolling. And you can have nights like tonight where she goes 11 for 20 with a dig as well.
Right.
But then you think about the tweaked ankle. We saw that really hamper Nebraska a few seasons ago when Lindsey Krause tweaked her ankle. They're really searching for that opposite.
For sure.
She gets into the car accident, tweaks her ankle, stuff is going wrong.
Yes.
Nebraska never really recovered from that. They were missing something.
Yeah.
So first of all, props to Taylor Landfair for fighting through it and still playing well.
Yeah.
But B, what a luxury that one little ankle tweak won't derail a season or be the Achilles ankle, if you will, for this Nebraska team.
Yeah, totally. Well, and that goes back to our depth, right?
Yeah.
So Taylor Landfair ends up tweaking her ankle. And what do we do during the match that it happens? And then she just, goes and sits the rest of the match, which is help, right? If you have a great player that is basically carrying a team, they're going to tweak their ankle. They're going to take them off and they're going to say, hey, like, can we put you back out there?
Mhm.
Because if we don't put you back out there, we know that our opportunity of winning the match decreases significantly. Well, we don't have that problem.
Nope.
She tweaks her ankle. And then we go, well, hey, Terea Sigler, you're just going to play all the way around now. And I think that match that Taylor Landfair tweaked her ankle, Terea Sigler hit over 500.
Mhm.
And so that's then where we have that luxury of a deep bench to be able to then, come on and really continue what we're already doing. But then we also have the luxury to be able to sit that player.
Mhm.
And we don't have to rush her in her rehab. We don't, we can
Right.
really assess and see, okay, what's wrong. And that is a huge benefit to us because then she can actually do what she needs to do to get better. And then she gets back into the lineup 2 matches later. And then she continues on her progression of, quite frankly, having a very good season for the Huskers and for herself.
As we talk about the depth, now that we're over halfway through Big Ten Conference play, do you have a read on what the deepest position is for Nebraska? I mean, I know it's all deep, right? They're too deep, could beat a lot of other teams in Division I. But if you had to pick a position, where is Nebraska the deepest?
I mean, this is like, okay. So if you look at the left sides, right? So Harper's the H1, then you got Taylor Landfair's the H2, and then you got Terea Sigler that's playing in the back row for Taylor Landfair. But yet, if something happens to Taylor Landfair, Terea Sigler can come in and be the H2.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, though, about Skylar Pierce that absolutely jumps out of the freaking gym, you guys. She is a phenomenal athlete. She's probably then on the depth chart behind Terea Sigler. Maybe. I don't know. It really kind of depends on who the other team is. And for Coach Busboom, what's the asset that I think is going to be able to perform the best against whoever my opposing team is? So that's the left sides. I don't think I left any left sides out. There's 4. Okay, the middles, right? I guess I don't really know what would be considered the M1 or the M2 for us. I don't know. Andy Jackson and Rebecca Alec are both phenomenal.
The fact you don't have a 1A, 1B, it's just number 1 and number 1.
They're awesome. I mean, probably Andy Jackson's your M1 and Rebecca's your M2. But then you got Manaya Obeche that's going to come off the bench. And anytime she comes off the bench, she dominates and she terminates the ball.
Yeah.
It's not like she's just a filler.
Nope.
I mean, they're putting her in and then they set her right away and she terminates. Okay, so there's the middles. Okay, so maybe the middles don't get to be the deepest because they only have 3 and the left sides have 4. All
but
right.
is there maybe the least drop off from M1 to
I'm
M3
with
compared
you.
to H1 to H4?
That's really tough. I don't know. But I mean, when you think about that, how I think about it is, okay, no, I don't know. I mean, I think they're pretty similar, and I think why I can say that is all of those individuals have been tested in different gameplay of someone coming out and someone coming in, and our performance doesn't drop off.
Mhm.
So now I'm going to go to the right side. We're talking through it right now. I mean, it's 4:27. We got till 4:55. I got a little time to digest this. Okay, so if we go to the right side, right, you got Virginia Adriano, who is phenomenal. She's 6'5". I mean, if teams don't get a block up against her, like
It's over.
it's
Too
over.
late.
You're going to get your head taken off.
Mhm.
But then what you have is Ali Check hanging out. She's amazing, you guys. Ali Check is a very, very good player. She's a great player physically, but she's also a great player because she has the maturity. You know, she's the transfer from Baylor.
All conference performer, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just chilling.
Just chilling, just waiting for her time to come on the floor. And anytime, by the way, she comes on the floor, she also terminates the ball. So probably the right sides, they don't get to part. They're not necessarily like the most depth because they literally just don't have the numbers.
Mhm.
And then if you take a look at our setters, this is why this is a hard question to answer. Okay, Bergen Riley is probably the best setter in the country.
Again.
She's amazing. She's amazing from the setter standpoint, her ability to disperse the ball and with such accuracy, and then her defensive skills are phenomenal. But let's say, whatever, you got to take Bergen Riley out. Well, then you got Campbell Flynn, who is a freshman, who is she's a Michigan native, I believe.
Mhm.
I think she was the best player for Michigan a year ago.
I think she was National Gatorade Player of the Year.
Was she National Gatorade?
So. I can double check that.
I know she was for sure for the state.
Yeah.
But you guys, she's phenomenal. So that's so who wins? So now, okay. And then you got all the littles. You guys, this is brutal. So then now let's go to the back row, right? You got Libero with Laney's. She's got the jersey right now. But then you got defensive specialists. You got Olivia and Macy Bosinger. I mean, Macy doesn't get a ton of time, but when she's in, I think she does a great job of doing her job. And if something would happen to Olivia or Laney, again, we have the depth that's where an injury or something that would, not allow a player has an off game. That's why, we just aren't as affected by it. Here's an example. The team we just played, Minnesota, they lost 3 players to injuries this year.
Mhm.
And so that's really affected them. Now you could say, hey, though, they're doing pretty good because they're still rated number 22 in the country. And I do think they played us competitively today,
Mhm.
but I think our drop off is just much less. Our bench is so deep. And if I have to choose between the middles and the left sides, this is really hard. Mm, 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 mm. I'm probably going to go with the middles. I think I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I can say that, you guys.
You're not being unfair to the left sides to say that it's not them.
I know, but
because
here's
you
what I was thinking about. It's like, when Manayo Beche comes off the bench, she's usually pretty successful. But then I'm like, then I go to the depth chart of the left sides, and basically Terea Sigler is already starting.
It's crazy.
I don't know.
It's nuts.
I don't know.
My less informed eyes would have said middles off the rip. That's my outside perspective.
When you talk through it, though, and statistically, when you look at it as far as who plays more time,
it's hard to say.
Then you would have to say it's the left side.
You would. It's crazy.
I know.
Let's talk about the middles.
Can I just say, you
please?
Guys,
it's your show. Say what you want. Say what you say.
This is so fun. I mean, honestly, I want to thank anybody who's tuning in right now.
180 of you. Thank you.
What? Oh my God, 180 people. I mean, today's volleyball has been fantastic. I mean, you guys, I was watching double volleyball. I was watching the Huskers on Peacock. I'm watching, Freeman play the class, C2 championship. By the way, a Husker baby was on the Freeman Falcons team. Tanya Tauke, Dorn's daughter, Brecken Albers. She's a champion today.
Congratulations.
Yeah, former Husker.
Runs in the blood.
It does run in the blood. But then, like, the volleyball today in the state championships was amazing. I mean, Amherst did a reverse sweep of Overton. I'm just like, oh my God. It's just a great day to be a Husker and to be a volleyball fanatic. So I just wanted to let everybody know I'm having the best day ever. And the Huskers were awesome. So please continue. What were you going to say?
I say, first of all, halfway through a successful Husker day, men's basketball wins, volleyball wins. We got women's basketball.
I didn't know men's basketball won. Who'd they beat?
They beat Florida International.
That's
where I came from.
So
women's basketball taking on Sanford here in about half an hour.
Okay.
And then you will have the football team at UCLA as the nightcap. So halfway home, Huskers. Good job. Good day so far in Husker land. Before we take our first break, Mandy, let's talk about the middles, what made them so successful. The numbers are as such: 25 kills on 35 swings between Andy Jackson and Rebecca Alec, 2 errors from Andy Jackson. Andy also gets credited with an assist, 4 digs and 3 blocks between the two of them. Let's start with offensively. You hear 25 kills between 2 middles. That's impressive. And then they got 35 swings, which is a lot. And I think, to your point, a symptom of a healthy offense.
Well, of a healthy offense and of a offense and a coaching team and just the volleyball acumen and overall ability for us to push the middles. Listen, if you cannot compete for a national championship if you don't have middles and you don't actively use them. And here's why. When you can actively use your middles, when you can terminate from the middle, it does not allow the opposing team then to just camp out and easily go to the pins, either right or left, and block. Right. And when you think about when you're setting balls out to the left side or behind to the right side, those are slower sets, right? So it's also easier
to longer distance for the ball to travel.
Correct.
More time to react.
So it's easier to put a block up. So when you have the best middle duo in the country, and you guys, when you watch Andy Jackson and Rebecca Alec play, they are always active. They always know where the ball is at. And that's why they're able to terminate, because they are always putting themselves in position to be an offensive player and to terminate.
Not just saying, hey, I'm playing defense. Well, I got my block touch and then I'm out of the play, but staying engaged.
Yeah. So what can happen? And I would say you probably see this more in high school with middles. But if the game's going really fast, sometimes middles they get stuck at the net. They kind of become the audience because they're like trying to block, they're trying to get off. That doesn't happen with the two best middles in the country. And they just are. Andy Jackson is just an athletic phenomenon. And Rebecca is as well. It's just they're different. They're different athletes. But the other thing too is when you think about their ability to be in volleys that are going very fast and they are getting out, they're blocking, they're up in the middle, they're blocking, but then they're also playing balls. Both of them do a great job coming off the net, covering, and just being active defensively, not only on the block, but also, going to the floor and getting a ball up if they have to.
And that's obviously a physical trait, but I think it speaks as well to mental acuity.
It's mental and training. I mean, and it's kind of sad actually, because in the younger levels, a lot of times if someone's deemed a middle, they don't get trained as well in defensive play, digging, etc. So I think that's another thing that we do really well at Nebraska. The whole entire coaching staff is they teach everybody to be a defensive player. They teach everybody to dig a ball. They teach everybody to go to the floor. But if you're going back and saying, hey, how do we get 15 kills out of Andy and 10 kills out of Rebecca? One, it starts with passing and digging, because you cannot get that many kills without being efficient on your serve receive and on your ability to dig and dig a ball in perfection. And there were multiple people from the back row that did that today. Lainey, Olivia, Harper had an amazing dig where, Minnesota was coming with heat. I mean, they weren't, if they were in system, they were
putting it down.
They were, they were doing a good job. And there was a ball that Harper got up, and it was perfect, and so it's just really, really tough for opposing teams, even when they're putting heat on the ball, for them to really, they just have a hard time terminating against us. And so, that's really a combination of passing, digging with Andy and Rebecca always being available and making sure they're available. That's why they can do the production on the kills that they had.
Last thing then before we take our break between segments here.
Yeah.
Only 3 blocks for Nebraska.
Yeah.
But Minnesota still only hits 268 as a team with more attack errors than Nebraska on the night.
Yeah.
Even if the number of blocks isn't that high, did you still feel like Nebraska was good enough at the net to affect what Minnesota wanted to do throughout the 3 sets?
Oh, 1000%. I also think we serve tough. So you could have not as many blocks, but if you are serving tough and keeping them out of system and not really allowing them to, be able to, have a good set and a good attack, I think then that's where you can still hold their hitting percentage down. And also, right, we're digging the ball. So they're just, there's not getting very many kills.
Makes sense to me. That's former Husker Mandy Monson on the mic. I'm Austin Norman. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with another segment of volleyball pregame, lead you into football or volleyball postgame, I should say. No volleyball doubleheader for Nebraska today.
Right, not today.
But a quadruple header for Husker sports, as we discussed. One more segment of volleyball postgame after this on the ticket.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Dana Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Dana Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Dana Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Bagels & Joe is the perfect place for breakfast or lunch in November. Try their brand new fall sweet trays, including cinnamon rolls, pumpkin chocolate chip muffins, pumpkin cheesecake brownies, and apple croissants. 4 locations in Lincoln and 1 in Seward. Bagels & Joe.
Don't be fooled by the typical holiday ads this year. A new car for your significant other is a dream, but not a likely reality. Why not upgrade the current car you have with a detail? This year's hot item is a gift certificate from Nebraska Auto Detail to make your car look and smell fully refreshed again. We all have clutter and we all make messes, but it doesn't have to stay like that. Give the gift of a clean car this holiday. Buy your certificate at NebraskaAutoDetail.com or call 402-601-5086 for an appointment today.
Are you tired of living in pain? At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, they make it simple. From head to toe, spine to extremities, they've got you covered. Their multi-specialty team of experts in orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, podiatry, physical therapy, and occupational therapy all work under one roof to get you back to living life pain-free. Don't wait another day. Visit prairie-ortho.com today or call them at 402-489-4700. Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
It's the holiday season. Time for work parties, friend get-togethers, and family gatherings, which means lots of eating. Maybe you think you've perfected your holiday meals, and maybe you have no idea where to even start. Let's fix that right now. No holiday party is complete without Führer's cheese spread. It goes well with any type of cracker, pretzels, apples, chili, vegetable chips, and of course, it's perfect to pair with wine or beer. Holiday meals aren't complete until Führer's cheese spread is on the table. Find your own container at your nearest local grocery store today.
Back to Nebraska Volleyball Postgame on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, former Nebraska outside hitter, Mandy Monson.
That's right. Welcome back in to Volleyball Postgame. Austin Norman and former Husker Mandy Monson in studio. Another 13 minutes or so, but who's counting? Maybe we can run into football. We'll talk it over with the powers that be. But Mandy, before we get too far off the rails, I do want to say a little bit about maybe where it got a little, maybe not dicey for Nebraska.
Yeah.
But in both the second and the third sets, Nebraska got up big. It was 16-6 in the second set, and then it was 16-8. Nebraska led in the third set. Nebraska didn't blow the lead. They still end up winning. The second set went from 16-6 to 25-21 at the end, and then set 3 went from 16-8 to 25-20. So credit Minnesota for narrowing the gap. Is that just a feature of, hey, the other team's on scholarship too, Minnesota's a good team, they're going to go on their runs? Or is there maybe still some area for Nebraska to grow when it comes to burying teams, even the back half of the top 25 teams?
Well, I mean, I think there's always room to grow. So even when you're super awesome and amazing like we are, and where you're like, hey, what, is there any, there's always room to grow, because they're all athletes, and I don't think any of our players have hit their max potential yet, and I don't think we've hit our max potential yet as a team. I mean, probably if you're just because we didn't have as many blocks. I mean, and I thought the last match there was maybe some things that didn't quite go right on the block. So I would say maybe going back and looking at, hey, what technically what happened? Were we not getting our feet to where we wanted to be able to take players out? Was it a hands thing? And I mean, our coaching staff is great at looking at the technical block. So I think that's probably an area. I'm trying to think when Minnesota was going on some runs, they definitely had, like I said, some attackers that got into the match and started to be more efficient in games 2 and 3. Julia Hansen, she had 13 kills. Carly Gilk, I want to say Gilk was on the right side. I think Gilk was on the right side. Ooh, and I think Hansen and Kinney were on the left. I think Myers was the middle, that maybe was the transfer from Purdue. I just think in games 2 and 3, Minnesota got a little bit more acclimated to the level of play. That's the other thing. Similar, Illinois and Minnesota, we really came out strong in sets 1. And I think it kind of just took both of those teams a little bit of time to get acclimated to the how fast we play the match, especially going back to our middles. Man, like you guys, we play at such a fast tempo. And there isn't anybody else that plays at that tempo, I think, in the Big Ten. And so if you haven't played us yet, or if it's been a while, it's going to take you a little bit just to kind of get used to the tempo of how we play, because we also we pass at a fast tempo. And so it maybe just takes about a set to get into it. And then, when you're thinking about the opposing team from an attacker standpoint, it maybe takes you a set to figure out, okay, if there are areas of that I could take advantage of on the block. It might take me a set to kind of feel that out. So, I mean, I think they definitely got better in sets 2 and 3. Their hitters just got a little bit more confidence. I think they got a little bit more used to the play, and they probably started passing a little bit better too, right? Maybe settled into that serve. Like I said, I mean, Minnesota didn't play terrible. I thought it was one of the more competitive games that we've had from an opponent. But I just think, again, when you look at the amount of offensive options that we have, it is really tough to key in on that's the thing. It's really tough just to take one player out for us. A lot of times on teams, if you can really focus in and hone in on one or two players and take them out of the match, then you got a better chance to win.
Sure.
I mean, really, if you're playing Nebraska, you have to be serving at a very high level so that you're taking us out of system
all night long,
not just one set. It's all night long. And that's where we are just brutal to play against. And I also think, there may be some instances where Minnesota is a good serving team, by the way. So they're a very strong serving team. I think they average like 2 aces per set.
Woo. It's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So I think for us being the opposing team to Minnesota, I think, we probably had some service receive errors, right? So, that helped them score some points, but they just, they never got momentum where they could really close the gap and where they could, get on the other side of actually leading a set and really push us hard. I want to think, set maybe 2 was probably the closest margin. Was that right?
Yep, 25-21.
Yeah. So that was the closest. But, even when I was watching that set, there was never. So this is the other thing. This is what the Huskers do a great job of. And when you watch them, when you watch them, and if the margin of point spread is closing between them and another team, the Huskers just do not get fazed by that. They really don't. You never see them like tense up or they're like, oh God, like they just don't. We've seen that happen with us before, right?
As recently as the last game of last year.
Correct. And then the year before when we tensed up during the national championship game and got beat by Texas. So we just don't do that. And I think that's a combination of maturity on the team today. I think it's a combination of coaching, right? So the coaches don't, they're not getting rattled on the bench. And then I also think it's a commitment of those older players not allowing that to happen because they've experienced it twice and they're like, we are not doing that again.
You bring up the word maturity. That's where I was going to go. You mentioned especially in first sets.
Yes.
Nebraska's Goliath, right? Everyone else is
we are absolutely like it's bananas. We just are.
And it'd be so easy, I think, for teams to get complacent and ease into matches, ooze into games, as a Jay Foreman might say for football.
Yeah.
But no matter how good a team is, going up 1-0 means something. And for Nebraska to come out and set the tone, now that they've needed any sort of margin for error so far this year,
right?
But by winning the first set, they give themselves that little extra bit of cushion, set the tone, and say it is going to be, on the one hand, a long night for you, but we have plans to make it a short night, not give teams any dose of confidence early.
Well, and I think that's what they've really done well this weekend because, Illinois and Michigan and Minnesota are both, competitive historical teams. And Nebraska just did not give them an opportunity to really establish themselves. And I do think that's something that they have improved on this weekend. Maybe not. I mean, I think last weekend they did a pretty good job of that, but maybe 2 weekends ago, we kind of, the first sets, maybe we were a little bit, not quite as dialed in as you'd want, but like, that's not happening now. And where you could really see that today in the match was just the play of Andy Jackson and Rebecca Alec. I mean, they were just, and Virginia, the first set was very, very strong. And so, I mean, that's tough.
And it doesn't matter who it is in the first set for Nebraska because it's going to be someone. One more thing for me and then one from the text line. You mentioned tempo.
Yes.
Has Nebraska's tempo, the pace at which they play, changed from last season under John Cook to this year under Danny Busboom Kelly?
I think so. Yes.
In what ways then? Playing faster, playing more deliberately. How has Nebraska's tempo changed? What would that look like? Maybe
I think a little bit of both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think, and I don't know deliberately. I just think because of their the amount of players that can play at a fast tempo, and especially, I mean, I just think the middles have really, really leveled up their level of play. But if you just look at when I watch Harper and Taylor Landfair, they're both playing better than they were a year ago. And I also think the ability to play at a faster tempo. I don't, maybe it's the way that Danny's coaching and training, that is heavily impacted by your ability to pass the ball. And who I do think has an impact on that was not here a year ago is Terea Sigler. She's a fantastic passer, you guys.
For a freshman.
For a freshman. She's phenomenal. And Harper's gotten better, right? So you know, her freshman and sophomore year, a way to take Huskers out of system sometime was actually to really force the ball on Harper and
look at the national championship game 2 years ago.
And see how she would handle that. And so I think those are the biggest differences that allow us to now do a faster tempo to the middle and to the outside is passing.
And lesser teams might want to play fast, but when you can't pass, it's not a good pass, you're out of position, you rush your set, it doesn't go where you need the ball to go. I think that's certainly something to monitor. And then we have this from our starter Heyman Jewelers text line 4068. Thank you for listening. She wants you, Mandy, to explain more about how when you look at the defense, Minnesota hits about 270 and Nebraska's block is off. What made Nebraska's performance defensively still a good one today?
Well, because let's see, what's our total digs? So we had 46 digs. Yes.
Yes.
We had 46 digs. They had 33 digs. So we outdug them by 13. So if you just think about the fact that, okay, maybe we didn't get the blocks, but when they were hitting, they were not being successful in getting a kill because we were digging the ball.
Kept it off the floor. That's defense.
Correct. Exactly. So your hitting percentage is kills minus errors divided by total attacks. So you could still maybe have a team that, you know, hits the percentage that they do, 268, but because we're more efficient at digging and not just digging the ball, but you guys, like I said earlier, we were digging the ball in system. We're digging a ball that Kinney is putting heat on the ball. She's giving it all she's got, and we're digging it right up to Harper, and then we're terminating, right? So that means that our hitting percentage, I mean, you basically got a hitting percentage by Nebraska that's, you know, almost 200 points better than their opponent. And that's where they can have not as many blocks. They have the digs. They're digging it perfectly. Therefore, we're more efficient on the kill.
The point of defense is not to score points. It's great when you get it from a block. The point of defense is to prevent points.
It's to prevent.
And Nebraska did that.
Yeah, it's to prevent points. And here's the other thing too, like, just because they didn't get as many stuff blocks doesn't mean that their block wasn't successful. Because if they are taking opponents out of their ability to hit with their full strength, that allows us to dig the ball easier. Make sense?
Does. Makes sense to me.
Love it.
Next game for the 23-0 number 1 ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers will be in 6 days. A 2-game road swing, actually, for Nebraska. They make the Los Angeles trip at UCLA on Friday and then at USC on Sunday. Mandy, as always, really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was great.
That's former Husker Mandy Monson. I'm Austin Norman. Don't go anywhere. Nebraska football pregame on the other side here. 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.